hard act to follow. But
Yeah, man.
UVA football will be one of the last teams here to have made the trip to the West Coast to compete there. Have you talked to any of your coaching peers here or talked to other football coaches at other schools about the challenges of making the trip and playing out there?
Right. The staff's done a great job of tapping into the resources of not just college but NFL resources about making the West Coast trip. And so, yes, we've had conversation about what's the right timing, when do you go, how do you get acclimated to the time change, what's the meal schedule. Should you get out there and do some stretching? Do you want to have a fast Friday practice? What's the best combination? And so we took all that information and evaluated it, and then also looked at where our team is right now to help us finalize our plan to travel out west.
How much do you have to wait till the kickoff time to really solidify that schedule? And what does your week kind of look like when you get the schedule? And because it's an early kickoff, can you stay on the East Coast time zone?
So the decision to go out was made way before the time. Now, the 6-day hold makes it a little bit challenging because you're waiting on the kick time, and that's really going to impact your Saturday morning schedule and then maybe some of your Friday schedule. But all of the bulk of your planning is done ahead of time, and it's already set. So we knew that we were gonna leave on Thursday, way before we got there, because you have to. I mean, you're chartering a flight to go west and to get hotel reservations and bus companies and all the stuff that goes with it. But I did have to wait a little bit on the Friday schedule based off of what the kick time was going to be. But in terms of staying on the East Coast, I think it's best to get out there, or what we've gathered is best to get out there and let them get acclimated ahead of time.
And one of the big contingencies is also the equipment and
Yeah.
getting it. You had North Carolina, and then I think 24 hours later they were on their way to California. Just the behind the scenes of how complicated it is to get this West Coast trip done.
All right, so I'll just give you an example. I let the seniors pick the uniform combination, right? They do it every week, and we do it on Mondays. And typically, it's not an issue when we pick it on Monday. But we had to pick the combination 2 weeks in advance, and we also had the stipulation we had to wear the same color helmet 2 weeks in a row, because as soon as we came off of the North Carolina game, we wanted to pack it on the trunk because the tractor trailer was going to get back at 9 p.m. on Saturday, and it's leaving 4 p.m. on Sunday, and everything's got to be packed. So it really wasn't enough time. And then you got to soak jerseys because you're playing on grass, but you got to wear the white jerseys because it's 2 away games. And then if you wear white pants, you got to soak the white pants, and then you got to send the white pants. So there's just so many logistics that go into it because it's a 4-day trip for the gentlemen that are driving the truck. So all of that stuff left on Sunday. So now when we get off the practice field on Wednesday, we're going to have to pack our shoulder pads, and then Thursday we got to pack all the other auxiliary equipment and put it on bags and get it to the airport to get it on the plane. And that means you got to carry less luggage, so everybody's going to be wearing the same clothes for a couple of days because of the weight requirements on the plane. So there's a lot that goes into the trip. But you know what? That's also, fun things to deal with, right? And I was asking a couple guys around the building, had they ever been to California? And there's a lot of folks, players and staff, that have never been to the state of California. So it's actually pretty cool that you get a chance to travel that far. I don't want to do it every week, right? Don't want to do it too much, but we can kind of muscle up. And then also our practice schedule is going to change. So there's a lot of conversation with the senior leadership on how we want to approach practice on Wednesday and Thursday because of the travel time. And so just a ton of logistics. So really, really grateful and appreciative of all the folks that don't get recognized for the tremendous amount of work that's gone into trying to make this as normal of a trip. And just like any other road trip, even though it's got a lot of dynamics to it.
You guys are 11th nationally in turnover margin.
Oh, yeah.
What's been the key to being good in the category, and how has winning the turnover battle each week helped you win close games?
It's been all the difference, and I've made that known to the guys that sit in your seats every day, that the reason that we've won football games is because we've been been fortunate to not turn it over. We've had some on the ground and we gotten them back, so we didn't lose fumbles. But we've been taking care of the ball, and defense has been fanatical about getting the ball back. And I think it's a combination of just the emphasis, the things we talk about, the examples that we show them, and then the way that the guys practice. The guys are being intentional on trying to get the ball out. And it's made all the difference. So what it's done is in tight ball games, it's eliminated possession opportunities for the other team to score and given us more opportunities, so to speak. But then also it's kept us in close games to where when you eliminate those opportunities to score, then you're not chasing points, man. You're battling in a tie game or a close game or a one-possession game. It stays a one-possession game, and it doesn't become a two-possession game.
And then you guys have a really good linebacker in Cam Robinson. They have one in Cade Uvale.
Yeah.
What stands out about him, and do you guys have to know where he is at all times on when you're on offense?
Yeah, I mean he's I think maybe top in the country in pressure rate as a linebacker, right? So I mean he's really good. So you do have to know where he is, but he's very instinctual. He's a violent player. He's got great athleticism. He can do multiple things. So you do need to know where he is at all times.
As you've had time to go back and look at the film, anything else stick out to you offensively that's kind of been behind maybe some of the struggles the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, so it's the game of inches, right? And it was so cool to have that. And I'm not on social media, so I had somebody on the staff send it to me. But there was like a snapshot of the game of inches, and it really came down to a game of inches. And that's where we are offensively. I think in the first part of the season, man, we were able to take advantage of those inches, and those inches were easier to capture, right? As the season goes on, those inches are much more difficult to capture. And so what you saw is there's some inches as coaches that we got to do a better job. You know, there were some things that we learned from to be able to help the guys and give them more answers in some of the fronts that they were seeing this past week. One-on-one matchups come down to inches. So the guys, it's not like there's a bunch of busted assignments and guys aren't giving great effort. But when pad level gets an inch too high, it's magnified now this point in the season. I think, for the backs, man, when their eyes are off by an inch and it influences a decision to maybe bounce a ball when you should bang it, results in a TFL as opposed to a 3 or 4 yard gain that now keeps us on schedule. I think when we stay on schedule, right, you can see glimpses of, hey, that looks like what we saw early in the season. But when we're off by an inch, it now makes it a 2nd and long, right, which now changes play calls, which changes situations. And that's really what it is. And the guys own it. And then, fundamentally, when your technique is off by an inch, when you miss on a punch, by an inch, man, it's magnified. And when your footwork is off by an inch, and that's the beauty of offensive football, and also the challenge. It takes all 11 guys, on the same page. But they owned it. We owned it as coaches. We're going to get better, and I'm excited to see them come out this week. I think that's the great thing about the game of football is there's always humbling opportunities for you to get better. So I'm excited to see these guys get out there and get after it because it's just it's really a game of inches, and I think you're seeing that, and it's really been fun because now like you can talk about things differently with this team, and I told them that in the month of October you got to separate, right? And it's going to be very, very difficult to separate because it's a game of inches. And I think if you just look over college football, how many one-possession games there were last week, right? And especially on the road. And so them being able to see that gives us more opportunity to continue to grow as we go into the month of November.
You mentioned on Saturday Jason Brevard just, coming up with another clutch play, but when you brought him in, he obviously wasn't a nickel back at Morgan State. What made you think that he had the ability to play that position so well?
Right, his flexibility, football intelligence, and then as you started to see him spend time in our weight room, his body develop and change. And so when you can have a guy that has the ability to cover like a corner, but then also is big enough to be physical enough to come support the run, then you feel like you got an opportunity to have, a guy that's very, very flexible, and so you don't have to change personnels. You can react, you can respond to tempo with that kind of guy. So I think it was his skill set, and then his body started to grow, as he spent time with our folks in nutrition and strength and conditioning.
Anything in the voting among the players for permanent captains surprise you?
No. I will say that when we tallied up the votes, I think we had 32 players receive captain votes, which is a lot. Which tells you that there's tremendous leadership all the way around, not just from the guys that were selected captains. We had 6 guys that were 30+ votes apiece, which tells you, man, there's a lot of leadership. So it was good. It was very organic, and that's what they wanted. And man, I'm so excited for the guys that were captains, but then also too, want to encourage the guys that may not have been one of the 4. We got more than just 4 team captains on this football team, and I think the results are proving that there's great leadership. So was a cool honor. I was very fortunate. I wasn't expecting it as a player, but I was selected a team captain, and I think that's really, and I'm not just saying because it happened to me, but I think that's one of the highest honors you can receive in the game of football. That accolade that your teammates, and it was no coaches voted. It was strictly the players voted, and it was the whole roster. You pick 4 guys that you want to select as captains, and then when we tallied it up, it ended up being Jaw Carter, James Jackson, Chandler Morris, and Say Jennis.
A couple weeks ago with the Stanford game, you said that it was a cool opportunity to have a very much out-of-market ACC team come to get you guys some new exposure. Now the program is making its 4th trip to California ever. What are you hoping to showcase about your team in a relatively new ACC market? Yeah,
just the brand of football that we play, fast, intelligent, tough, and we got several guys from the state of California on our roster. And I think we all know that the Virginia brand, outside of football, I mean, it's global. Right, it's from coast to coast and all around the world, and now we are trying to create something from a football perspective that is synonymous with that, and so just excited to be able to showcase in a different market, and I think that we have a lot of things that can be attractive to folks all over the country.
Of course, and Chandler Morris has been battling through that shoulder, finished the game. What are you hoping to see from Daniel Kalen this week, just in case?
Yeah, I mean, what Danny's been doing every week, man. He's been preparing as though he were the starter, and man, he's ready for his opportunities. So no, nothing different, because in order for him to be ready, he's got to prepare like the starter every single week, which he's done. And I'm confident that if something were to happen, that he'd be ready to jump in there. And I think the guys will have confidence in him as well.
Of course, and North Carolina gave some trouble to the run game last
Yeah.
week. Cal gave up 357 yards on the ground to Virginia Tech. How are you hoping to reestablish the run game this week?
Yeah, well, we're not going to focus on what happened last week from a statistical standpoint, because it's a good football team we're getting ready to go up against. And so for us, it's back to us doing what and controlling what we can control. So I want to see our pad level down. I want to see our hand placement to be better. I thought that was one of the biggest differences in the game. I felt like for the first time we didn't win with our hands. The matchup at the line of scrimmage, right? I thought North Carolina did a really good job of hand placement and using length and not allowing us to get to them. They got to us first in some instances. So I want to see us reestablish the hand placement and win the hand fight. I want the backs to be decisive and a little bit more when they're decisive, squaring up their pads and hitting it downhill and turning a 3-yard run into 6. And I think that was the difference, right? And sometimes when it's perceived that you may be struggling, now you're trying to hit the home run instead of taking the base hit. And I want us to just take those base hits, and if it's blocked for 4, get 4. And let's try to push it to 6, right? As opposed to if it's blocked for 4, well, we don't see the 6, and now we're at 0, right? Because we're trying to do too much. So just get back to focusing on us and what we can control, get our pads down, win with our hands, and then backs be decisive with your eyes, and let's go forward and fall forward. And I think that will, turn into when you swing and you're trying to make contact and you're hitting base hits, the home runs will come.